What is going on, Victoria?
Hello.
How are you doing this evening?
I'm doing great. Let me just figure out why the heck my camera's not on. Oh, there we go. Hi.
Hello,
Can you hear
hello.
me?
Oh my gosh, look at you glammed up, looking awesome for the show.
You know what? If you had seen me 10 minutes ago, if you had seen me 10 minutes ago, I was at my daughter's kindergarten classroom in gym clothes and a messy ponytail. So this is a miracle.
A miracle. I love it. Only you
This
could
is a
pull off
mom miracle.
only you could pull off such a miracle. It's so funny that you say that because I literally was at the I was literally earlier tonight at the softball field for my daughters, and it's like I don't know, I feel like I just go from one event to another event. I have no clue. It's crazy.
Yeah, I have a kid who is not quite in TK and then a kindergartner. And so I've almost got two in the same school. Thank goodness. Right now I go to three different schools in three different cities
I want to hit
every
my
day.
I want to hit my head against this microphone just for hearing that. It is just it's insanity. It's insanity, but that's
It's
okay.
good to see you.
It's good to see you. Thanks so much for making time. I really appreciate it. This is going to be a lot of fun. I was like laughing like during all the promos and like looking at everything, and I'm like, I guarantee this is going to be one of the most watched interviews I've done, and we're gonna rub that into Polly. We're gonna rub that into Eli. We're gonna rub it into all of them that you had the
No,
highest rating.
you can't put that kind of pressure on me. Number one, I don't know who's coming, and I love them. Do not make them hate me.
Definitely, they would never do that. They root for you. This is a great family. Look,
Hi,
look,
everyone.
look
Fuzzy
at
Loving Frags is here. Steve, hey. Oh, Chaz is here. Whoa.
see.
Hectic. Oh, my goodness. No.
I told you. I told you. This is good. This is what's happening. This is what's going to happen. It's going to be good. Well, we'll jump right into it because I know you got all kinds of stuff going on. But thanks for making time. I really appreciate it. This is going to be a lot of fun, and I just kind of want to kind of set things off a little bit. For those of you, first, I guess I'll say this from the very beginning. Anybody in the room that is not following Victoria, make sure you do that right now. Make sure you scoop up her and follow her. Make sure you share out the live and like the live. Try to get more people in here because we're going to have a great conversation tonight. We want as many people to hear it as we can. And then also for those of you that are like, you know what, it's past my bedtime, especially if you're a Canadian who may be in the room that's up way past her bedtime. We are recording this, and so it will be on the Tube of the U tomorrow so that you can come back and watch all the moments that you missed. So no worries if you have to fall asleep. Do I do I have to? Yes, you have to. Yes, you have to share.
My
Um,
mama said yes.
I love it, love it, love it. So anyway, that with all that out of the way, let's get into it, Victoria. So first off, I just kind of want to start out with anyone here that maybe doesn't know you yet. So like, how would you describe who you are and who you are, maybe even beyond fragrance? You were just talking about before tonight. You had a kindergarten event you were running around to, but just tell us a little bit more about you and your life, just to kind of get us going.
Yeah. So I am a mom. I have two kids. I am in school myself. I returned to college after taking a long break from being in college when I was younger. So I'm a student. I really, really love science. I'm pursuing nursing. So I'd like to be in nursing school next year. I'm not there yet, but that's the goal. And I'm just absolutely in love with fragrance. I am active in recovery. I'm active in my church. I love my friends. But yeah, I'm just like an animal loving, nature loving, rock climbing, crazy mom.
Oh, I freaking love it. And you know what I love the most about the nursing thing? So I work at a university. Most people know that. And what cracks me up is like our nursing students are like the ones that I like, they are our best students on campus. Like our nursing students are like the best students that you could ever hope for. They're the ones that are you always see them studying in groups because it's so damn hard. And they've got to study
Yeah.
together in like this little like nursing cohort. And like they are like the best students ever. So like I am so in awe of you that you're doing this.
Yeah, I end up, I'm in those same groups. And because I am sort of an older returning student and I've done a lot of I did my undergrad first and now I'm pursuing nursing. I've taken a lot of good prereqs that help set me up for success. And I'm a mom. I'm the mom of my friend group. And I've ended up becoming like the mom of my study group too. And I've taken all these youngsters under my wing.
I freaking love it because I have a good friend of mine that did the exact same thing, but he did it in what did he do it in? He did it in pharmacy. He went back to school for pharmacy, and it really cracks me up because he's the same way. He's like the group dad. He's like the group dad in the class, and he's like doing all the note cards, and he's like sharing the note cards with everybody else. And it makes me laugh. So you definitely they're lucky to have you. I'll just say that. So you take a look at your brand, obviously your username, the Notes with Victoria. it's such a distinct brand. And I'm just kind of curious that story of kind of like what made you come up with that. Was that just like a whim? You're just like, hey, I love fragrance notes. I'm just going to use the notes with Victoria, or just tell me the story behind that. Like, how'd you come up with that one?
Oh, so the story of kind of how I got into content creation is really probably atypical because I was probably one of many who at some point in the last 10 years deleted all social media and completely got offline. And
Wow.
then I didn't have any social media consuming experience, and I decided to make a TikTok. Like, so I made a TikTok so that I could start making content. I didn't even consume content before then. So at the time that I made my TikTok, I was knee deep in college, and it was just like note taking, note taking, note taking. And I'm obsessed with fragrances. I love fragrance notes. And as you can probably tell by my page, I really love to dive deep into what different notes contribute to the overall scent profile of a fragrance. And so the notes was kind of like a little play on my studiousness plus my love of fragrance.
I freaking love it. I love the way that you did it. So it's kind of so basically you're saying you're a nerd. You're admitting right now that you're a
I
nerd.
self-proclaimed, man. It is like so undeniable. I can't even hide behind any kind of other alter ego. I'm like a nerd through and through.
I freaking love it. I love it. So, so thanks for explaining that. I was just kind of curious kind of where all that came from. So that makes a lot of sense. And, one of the things that, I was kind of just actually looking, I'm going to actually pull this up right now. So I was actually looking at
Oh,
your, yeah, this is good. This is good. No, this is not, I'm not going to actually like go, but
just
I was looking at your
don't
content.
pull up the first videos.
I won't do it. Won't do it. I will not do it. I promise. I will not play any right now. Although it does have 55,000 likes, so let's be real about that. That's pretty good. Or 55,000 watches.
Thank
But
you.
I
Yeah,
love it.
a lot of my note series, the ones where I break down, especially families, floral families or musks and things like that, those end up getting some traction, which to me just communicates that people also have a real desire to learn, which I think that's really cool.
I freaking love this one. Five things that five annoying things on perfume talk. Like your snarkiness makes me laugh too. Like I just freaking love it. Like the way that you can just be honest and blunt about things, and it seems like people like those videos too. So sounds like you got something
Yeah.
going there for you. How would you describe kind of the content that you produce?
Well, it's funny because I think that I have grown to be maybe atypically honest. I mentioned before that I'm really enmeshed in a recovery community, and turning my life into one where I just sort of practice honesty became a part of my life. And when I got on TikTok, I made a few videos, crappy videos. And then I realized, oh, I wonder if people want to know why I'm on here. So right off the bat, like right off the get-go, I made a pretty transparent video about how recovery played a role in my love of fragrance and sobriety plays a role in my life. And I've just always been really, really honest about the fact that I'm in recovery. And um, yeah, it might just be a part of the recovery community in general, but people saved my life when they told me the truth, and people, really helped me to connect when they told me really vulnerable things. So from the get go, I just like say what's on my mind. And then when it comes to fragrance reviews, right off the bat, I don't have any eloquence really. I just would tell people how things smell. And if it was good or bad and snarky, I would just do that. And I think that was refreshing to not be so stuffy. So people typically crack up for some of those things.
Oh, it's so good. It makes me laugh every time. Like once I see one of your videos pop up, I'm like, okay, this is either going to make me laugh or I'm going to learn a whole lot. Like one of the two things are going to happen. I'm going to learn a lot or I'm going to laugh. And so either way, it's a win-win. So you've got
Oh,
something
my
going
job
for
is
you.
done.
Yes,
My job is done.
that's right. You're gonna be in good shape. So, and the best videos are when I do both. So that's yeah, probably both. That's what silly. Yeah, that's exactly right. Those are the best ones. So you've talked a little bit already about recovery, and I want to get into that a little bit deeper here in a little bit because I really do want to dive into that because I think that is such a compelling part of your story. And we've talked a little bit about how like our life shapes us, and like fragrance is something we all have in common, but we all have our lives, and life's messy, and like there's all kinds of things wrapped up in that. So I definitely want to get into there. But before I get into that, I kind of want to talk about kind of your niche that you've carved out of kind of this science of fragrance. I love the way that you take kind of what you do and kind of your love for science and love for education in school and kind of pulling you into the space where you're talking about that in your videos. So I guess the first thing, how much research do you do on some of these videos? Is this something where you spend some time, or is that like, I'm just kind of curious your process around this because a lot of times you are adding a lot of really valuable knowledge going through some of this.
Yeah, I think that it's been really helpful that I returned to school so recently. And my undergraduate degree has a concentration in like human anatomy. So I was doing advanced human anatomy for like a year and a half straight. And I am obsessed with the human body and how it works. And a lot of how we interpret fragrance has so much to do with the complex nature of how the human body functions. And a lot of fragrance has to do with chemistry and organic chemical compounds and how they work. And it's like I was in organic chemistry like yesterday, and I'm in all these classes that have to do with the human body now. And when someone asks me something casually, like, huh, I wonder why this smells different on me than it does on you, my brain is going, do you really want to know?
I know. I
Do you
know.
really
I
want to
know.
know?
Yeah.
And so I think one of the parts to my you called it a brand, but holy cow, that feels like a lot. The part of my character that is probably good and bad is that like I'm a little bit of a know-it-all, and I just have so much fun sharing that stuff. You know, I'm the girl that comes home and just starts talking about photosynthesis to my family members, and they're like, eesh.
So I've got a question about that. So I know a little bit because I think you've talked about it that you're married, I believe, and your husband may be a firefighter. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay, so I know you mentioned that before, and so you've got family, you got kids, and so does your family are they just do they love this? What do they think about all of this?
Um, Well, my kids are too little to understand, except that, you know how the big department stores carry little kid fragrances and stuff. So I've given my daughter a little fragrance shelf of her own, and they enjoy coming in and spraying things. But for the most part, I'm the only complete science nerd in the way that I am in my household. There are other skill sets like engineering and geology that my other family members are interested in. But yeah, it's pretty much just me,
Yeah.
and they listen because teaching helps you learn. So I'll come home and just dump on them and it helps me to learn it. But you mentioned how much research goes into these videos. And it's kind of embarrassing. Like I will go and read primary literature and studies, and I've got all my textbooks. And so I'll check things out in like an anatomy or physiology textbook, and then I'll go and compare it to. I even reach out to different perfumers. The perfumer behind Clandestine has helped me a lot with like interpreting certain notes and how they contribute to a fragrance. So I talk to people, I read books, I go read studies, and like it's kind of a lot. It's a lot of pressure.
That's amazing. Yeah, I mean, I know how much goes into the research. I mean, it's funny, like all of our research scientists that we even have at my university, and I'm sitting there thinking, like, I could just see you like scowling around in the medical research journals and looking at everything. Like, oh, it's too funny. Like, I could literally, like, I would not be shocked if I like walked into my library and saw someone just like you, just sitting there, just nerding out, going right into the data. So I can totally see this in my head.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. So what's one of the questions kind of getting into the fragrances that I'm kind of interested in is, when you break down notes and you're kind of actually describing things that you're seeing or interpreting in fragrances, like have you do you find that difficult to kind of put that in words? I don't know about you, but like sometimes I'm smelling something, I'm sensing something, I'm seeing something, and I'm like, can I convert that into something that people can really relate to, or is that something that just you feel like comes natural to you?
Well, I think I've done my very best to try to communicate what I know about fragrance, which I try to communicate is just scratching the surface. I'm like not an expert in any of this. And I have people, really cool people that chime in with slight corrections or they add things on to the information that I provided. And so I'm constantly learning. But I don't find it, I find that one of the things I've tried to teach is that notes, like in particular, note breakdowns or note descriptions, they're really more like it's more like storytelling and less like ingredients. And so when you see something has a strawberry note, that doesn't mean it has strawberry. And so my brain goes, yeah, well, what makes something smell like strawberry? And then I go and do that research. But yeah, ultimately, I think that um, I enjoy breaking down a fragrance as I'm interpreting it and trying to pull out what I'm smelling. But the most successful way that I've ever found to describe fragrances is kind of to go back to what the fragrance reminds you of or makes you think of. And so some of my more silly breakdowns are like, whoa, this fragrance smells like walking in an alley and it's kind of like dank and dingy. And then like imagine someone threw roses in your face. And it's like, it just kind of paints a picture for people versus saying this fragrance has olibdenum, or olibanum and labdanum. And it's like a lot of times people don't really know what those smell like. So I try to teach what they do smell like, but also just describing fragrances in memory.
I think that's great. I mean, and that's something I struggle with. Like, I even think about, like, I've been thinking for a while, like, man, I probably need to get like a nose training kit so that I can really understand like what these notes smell like in the raw form, and like, so that I can do a better job of explaining them when I smell them, because it's so it's easy to look at a note breakdown, but as you know, I mean, looking at a note breakdown really is meaningless. Like, the way that fragrances are mixed and kind of the way that they go together. So it's always been fascinating to me, the people that can do that well. And then when I smell the fragrance, I'm like, oh my God, I see exactly what they meant here.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, I've always just been impressed with people who can do that.
Yeah, I think, and that's something that I really enjoy. I consume a lot of fragrance content now because I love storytelling and I love hearing how people interpret fragrance. But kind of going back to what we talked about with biology and chemistry, it's like not even just impacted by biology and chemistry, what we're smelling. Our whole olfactory system is pretty much directly connected to the parts of our brain that are linked to memory and emotion. And so when you smell something, it could be the exact same thing as I'm smelling. It's going to trigger all sorts of different emotions and memories for you. So scent really is super, super subjective. And we try to consume all this content and get an idea of how a fragrance vibes, are. But ultimately, the only way to experience a fragrance is for yourself, because it's all getting routed through your own brain and your own body.
No, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, I was joking on the live the other day. Like, I found an oats because I think your first fragrance, I think I remember it from a video. Tommy Girl was one of your first fragrances, right? Am I right about
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Doing that research. See, I remember that. And so I actually found a bottle of Tommy, like the original Tommy, like the one that the guys used to wear. Because that was kind of around
That
my
smelled so good.
Oh my god. And so, yeah, so I got a bottle and I was actually impressed that it still smelled halfway decent, like what I remember, but the memories just came flooding back from when I was younger.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just wild. I mean, it has probably been over 20 years since I've smelled that fragrance, and it was like it was just
Yeah.
yesterday. It's crazy how that
Yeah.
works.
That might be an upcoming perfume 101. It's called odor evoked autobiographical memory. And it's like a trigger in the smell. The smell gets routed straight to the place that has it's the amygdala and the hippocampus, and they're
Yeah,
connected to these
of course.
memories. So what yeah. So what happens when you're smelling things is like, let's say you're experiencing something really joyful, like you won a baseball game or something, and that smell of the leather mitts is just in the air because you won a baseball game or you won a championship. Unavoidably, the smell of leather will probably be linked to happiness and joy and positive memories in your brain just because they're coexisting at that same time. So it's like a really cool experience.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. No, it's really cool. We talk a lot about myths and fragrances and just different things, and I always like to because I think you're gonna have a great answer to this one. But what is one fragrance myth that you wish would disappear from ever from TikTok? Because, and I guess before you answer that, while you're thinking of that, I always love it because now you're caught. Like, I think about you when I'm trying to pronounce a hard word now because I'm like, oh my god, I'm like, I better get this pronunciation right, or Vic is going to come in here and just crush me. So
The
it's
the irony is I still mess up pronunciations all the time, and that was kind of a tongue-in-cheek video, and it's like a little bit of rage bait because I said at the beginning, I was like, I don't even speak French, but I speak French a little better than y'all. Like, it was just a joke, but I got a lot of heat for that one. Um, a myth. Like, I think that there are plenty of myths out there that are just like tiny drops in the bucket about, certain fragrance notes or whatever. But maybe the myth is kind of something we already talked about, which is like a fragrance is made and it smells like a thing. It has a smell. And the truth is yes, there are ingredients in the fragrance and there are certain smells undoubtedly present in the fragrance. But the second you put it on your skin, your own body changes the scent inevitably because of, the way that our body's microbiome works. And then it's all getting routed through our own interpretation. And so your interpretation of the exact same thing will be completely different. So even though fragrance is made and smells like it doesn't smell the same to any two people, and it doesn't stay the same once you smelled it. So maybe the myth is that fragrance is like a stagnant creation versus something that kind of evolves as you wear it and evolves on different people
And,
differently.
and it's funny
You
you
know?
say that because I think we do we know that because of based on compliments, like right, like people will get compliments from somebody, and then somebody else won't say anything about it, and you're like, well, wait a second, like it smelled really good for this person a second ago, this person didn't even notice it, like so I think
Yeah.
intuitively we kind of know it, but like I don't know, there's like some kind of disconnect in our brain sometimes when we're sitting there thinking about it. We don't think about that reality of it.
Yeah, I learned a lot recently when I made that more recent video. I kind of dove in a little deeper than I had before, and I learned even more about the chemical bonds and stuff that are changing on our skin and how it's not that you just think that milky fragrances smell sour on you. It's actually that the fragrance notes have chemically changed on your skin for one reason or another, and they actually smell sour on you. So it's like a really cool thing that fragrance is like an evolving, changing thing depending on the person, the weather, the time, but it's not, yeah, fragrance isn't like a stagnant creation. It changes.
Yeah, it definitely
Maybe that.
does. I mean, I noticed that today. I mean, I noticed that today when I was trying to figure out. I had a big event. It was really warm today. I had a big event, so I was sweating just because I was running around everywhere, and I could not believe how quickly Armani Code Parfum disappeared on my skin. It was like gone, and I'm like, holy
Yeah.
crap! I'm like, usually it doesn't disappear like that quick. Like it was just unbelievable how my day changed the way that fragrance worked on me.
Yeah. So yeah, even on the same person, um, hormone levels, weather changes, like humidity, all that stuff will change a fragrance. So yeah, day to day, the same fragrance can perform differently. And yeah, the physics of fragrance and like alcohol and oils, like it's pretty interesting.
Yeah,
At
I
least
know.
to me, I'm a big fat nerd.
I mean, I love it too. I mean, and it's one of those things too where like I think we're in a more health conscious society obviously today, and like I never know what to believe. I think you did a video on this too not too long ago, but where I think you dove into a little bit about the people who are like afraid of spraying different fragrance on their bodies, and like I think it may have been, I don't know. I watch a lot of content too, but that's always interesting to me too. It's like people are like, well, hey, should I spray stuff on my neck? Because if people hear about these intricate, issues of people that spray a lot of fragrance on, and it's funny out there. The myths that are out there, and misinformation, I guess, is what that's out there about fragrance and what it can or can't do. So, and anything you would say to that whole phenomenon of people talking about those things about how fragrance is dangerous.
Yeah, I mean, I think the video you're talking about, I made a video about how I had an intention of learning about and teaching about this topic. And as I got into it more and more, I think I mentioned I talked to my organic chemistry professor. I went and talked to my endocrinologist, my professor who taught endocrinology and who's like actively in the academic world, like making strides in endocrinology and making discoveries every day and stuff. And one of the things that's totally misunderstood is that endocrinology is kind of like a relatively new field. And there is so much that even the most advanced endocrinologists don't understand. But I think the number one myth is that when they study fragrance components and then possibly attribute some of those components to endocrine disruption or like health damage or whatever, a lot of times it's at very, very, very high concentrations, nowhere near the concentrations that you would get exposed to by wearing a fragrance. Now, someone might argue if you wear fragrance every day, like, could there possibly be an effect on your hormones? Sure. But I don't know enough to teach it yet. I'm in the middle of doing research on it, but so far, the overwhelming consensus that I've heard is that unless you were to like take a bath in nothing but fragrance every day of your life for 14 years, you probably wouldn't notice much endocrine disruption. So it might be a little bit of fear, but there might be a little truth to it, but it's probably at concentrations past what we use.
No, it makes a lot of sense. I appreciate you kind of talking about that. That's Polly's got me already laughing in here. He's talking about concentration levels of guidance 46. It's
Yeah,
like
it's not the fragrance concentration like 20%, 30%, 40%. It's almost like if you were to take an individual component of the fragrance like ethyl acetate or something, you would need pure ethyl acetate at like a 4 molar concentration to damage something on your skin or on your epithelium versus like a light misting of a 0.001 molar. It's like, it's just not even comparable. So a lot of times the answer is, I don't know. We don't
Well,
know.
it's funny you bring this up because this is something that I've learned, and you probably have already know. You've known this probably for a long time, but I learned this recently. I've talked to a lot of niche indie perfumers lately, and one of the things that's a little bit of a misconception out there is that people will say, "Hey, I buy all my oils. They're all IFRA, whatever the group is. They're all regulated. They're all good, and everything's great. And I can kind of create whatever cocktail I want of fragrance, and everything's great." But what they don't realize is that it's about the how much of that they use and how it mixes with the other oils that are in the fragrance, and that you still have to shoot that out and have that tested because it really matters the concentration of each of those oils and how they work together. And so just because they're all approved oils doesn't mean that when they're mixed together, you didn't create something that's not going to be great for somebody. I think that's something that I didn't realize.
Yeah, I think that it's a lot more complicated than a few sentences will give the topic justice to. So there's concentration levels, and then yes, like you said, there are chemical interactions that happen. But I think most likely there's just big misunderstandings about things like in the greenwashing space, like saying that an oil is natural and making the association that a natural thing won't hurt you. Well, it's like, I don't know, like cyanide is natural. And like there are plenty of things that are really bad for you that are natural. And for example, I mean, I'm making things up just to paint a picture, but you might have something like a lavender oil and linalool, or like something that seems harmless might actually be quite bad for your skin, relative to something that's like a synthetically derived scent note, like a synthetic musk. And you might think, oh, synthetic, like made in a lab, that must be bad for you, but this natural lavender's fine. And it's like, it could actually be the flip. It could be that the natural oil is pretty shit for your skin, and the synthetic is like harmless. So it's more complex than the conversation will give it
It
justice,
it's so funny to hear you say that because I was reading a book. I can't remember exactly which one. I was reading a book about fragrance, and that was the biggest takeaway that I had from the book that I was reading was that a lot of people think that the you know, natural scents are the best ones, and it's like, no, those are probably the ones you're going to be the most allergic to. Like it's like there's a reason why the lab ones sometimes are better because they can take out some of the things that
Hmm.
cause problems.
And I think another misunderstanding might be there's lots of rigorous testing that I think everybody knows. Um, Perfume houses and like big beauty brands have to go through before a product can be released. And they basically do all sorts of testing to see like what someone might have a reaction to. And maybe we'll keep it limited to what someone's skin might respond to negatively. And if someone's skin responds negatively to a thing, they're only allowed to use 1/10 of that amount. So if something does cause like a rash or some kind of skin condition, the approved amount that could be used is only 1/10 of that. So the likelihood that something that we're putting on our skin is, I mean, it's a complicated question, but I think people get a little bit up in arms about it.
Yeah, Mr. Salty's in the chat. And he's talking a little bit about this. I think marketing plays such a role in this, right? Some of these clean brands, right? They're just kind of, they're yeah. I don't know how clean they really are. It's a marketing thing for sure.
Yeah,
You know what?
absolutely.
Let's talk about community because that's one thing that I love, and I think that's one of the things that I have been most impressed with you since I first came on this app is that you have a tribe, is what I'll say. You have a tribe that I love. You guys are close, and you guys support the hell out of each other. Many of them are in the chat right now, and I love that. So I guess first question is: has it always been that way? Did you come on this platform and just immediately you kind of started finding your people, or how did that evolve over time?
I think I touched on it at the beginning that one of my very first videos, I was pretty transparent about being in recovery. And just in my own experience, when I meet other people that are in the recovery community, there's almost this like instant kinship just because, there's this really cool bond that we have. And no, when I first joined the platform, I had casual conversations, just comments and things like that. But I wasn't very popular. I was like a tiny creator. No one knew who I was, and I made terrible content.
Mm.
But pretty quickly, I met someone certified fresh, and he asked me, privately if he'd gotten it right, if he saw the right video, and if I was in recovery. And I went, oh my gosh, you are too. And it kind of blew my mind that someone who was in recovery might also cross paths with me in this fragrance world. And then it was like, he said, I know someone else and I know someone else. And then I have a friend of a friend. And not everybody that I've met and connected with has been in recovery, but it's just been like a domino effect of relationship building. And so some of the best relationships I have in my life, I met through TikTok, which is just crazy.
It's wild to me. I mean, it's the same for me. Like I've had some of the coolest friendships that I've developed in the last year from talking to different people, and it's like, God, I'm like, I don't know. It's just it's odd to me because I'm like I've got quite a few friends in IRL, whatever, in real life, like all the time, like in this area, but like I don't know. Sometimes I feel even closer to some of the content creators on here that I talk to, and it's just odd how this platform has allowed that to happen, and how you can really talk to people and get to know people, and if you open up and I don't know, it's just it blows my mind. But getting back to kind of this tribe that you have, and these friendships that you've kind of built on this platform, I think about guys like you got Polly in here, Eli, Mr. Burger, Quan, Chewy, many, many others. I'm sure I'm missing a ton of them that you're with. But the thing I love is like you have all these big brothers on this platform, right? And I feel like if anybody messes with you, they're going to be in for a world of hurt. So, am I wrong about that, or is that do I have that take right?
I feel like I'm one of those dog walkers and I've got like 5 pit bulls. And like they're actually real sweethearts, but people kind of bristle like when they see a dog that looks like that. And I don't know how it happened, but I recently met a handful of them at the same time in Las Vegas. And I'm like, y'all are huge. Like what? And it's like Mr. Burger. And then you're hugging him up here, and Polly and Eli. It's like they're just huge. Chewy's here. And it was like, I felt like I was walking around with flippin' awesome bodyguards. It was awesome.
I
Like
get this image.
try to mess with me. Somebody try to mess with me.
Oh, I got this image. I'm 5'4", don't let her lie. Polly, come on now. I freaking love this. I love this so much. It is really, I mean, honestly, it is really fascinating. I hope there's a photo out there. I haven't seen the photos yet, but I hope there's a photo with you and like all these tall guys around you. We got to make that happen if
I
it hasn't
think
happened.
I think the only one we took, I was like bent down all cool, like flexing my muscles or something. But yeah, it was cool. It was an unbelievable experience getting to meet some of these people in real life. And yeah, it's so strange because you connect online and you connect through this platform and you talk every day. And then when you finally get to see someone in real life, it's like, oh, you're real and you're really awesome. So it was a really cool thing.
Yeah, it cracks me up because I, watched a lot of your all's content that through that week, and it was so fun to see you guys interact. But I was dying laughing when I saw you guys like play the game,
Oh,
the
God.
game, the game that
The
you're
game
no.
itself. It was the most fun that I've had with a group of people in a long time. And like the only bad thing about the entire experience was that like the cologne poser wasn't there, Chaz wasn't there. It's like I wanted everyone to be there, and I know people's lives don't line up properly, but the group that we had a blast. And there was one night in particular where we started playing these games and recording little skits on our phone, and we just couldn't stop laughing. I mean, we had to like catch our breaths a few times.
Eli told me that. He said that he literally like lost his mind laughing that you had to like stop recording because he couldn't regain his composure after. And I guess that's a good question. He wanted me to make sure that I asked you what your favorite bottle is made out of. Your favorite fragrance bottle.
So here's the thing. Here's the thing. You can be a total smartass and then you get put on the spot and you can't think of anything. And so I'm feeling confident. I'm feeling like I got this dialed. They sit me down to play this game and my mind goes blank. And I'm going, I've never seen the game played before. I just sat down and I'm going, shoot, what questions do I ask? Is it pink? Is it blue? And then they go, how about you ask something about the bottle? And I think they were thinking like this is it a large bottle? Is it a small bottle? And I go, is the bottle made of glass? And then they just died. It was really funny.
It was hilarious. But hearing Eli tell that story and in last week's interview, that one, I mean, that just made me. He almost cracked himself up just retelling the story. I mean, he went right back to that moment.
The edits don't do it justice because in order for it to be TikTokable, I had to cut a bunch out. there was about a minute and a half of unusable content where everyone is just wheezing. And it was like truly hard to get back on track. It was pretty funny.
Yeah, Paulie's trying to defend himself, or I don't know. He's not trying to defend himself. He's trying to, I think, throw you under the bus. I think is what he's trying to do here in the chat.
If I'm misremembering, there was pomposity either way. Either I saw him play and I was like, oh, I've got this, no problem. Or I went first and I was like, how hard could it be? Either way, I was way in over my head.
Oh, I love it. I love it. It's so good. So, one of the things you talked about, and again, and you've been open about this, and some of the guys, I mean, we had Eli on last week, and he talked about this pretty publicly. So you've been open about your kind of recovery journey, and so I'm kind of curious a little bit more, kind of getting into that. So, what made you decide to kind of share that publicly with everybody? Yeah, I'll start there.
Yeah. Um, I won't get emotional, but I had an experience in early recovery. I wouldn't even call it recovery. I just needed help. I was in a bad spot and I felt really alone, and I felt really like not just misunderstood by other people, but I didn't even understand what the heck was going on with me. And I remember going into a space where people shared openly, vulnerably, and honestly. And they started telling my story, and they started saying things that like, oh my God, did you say that out loud? I would never tell anyone, but I did that too. And that type of radical honesty, I sat all the way down and I went, oh my God, this is where I belong. And it saved my life. I mean, I wouldn't be here if I hadn't found the recovery community that I found. And so I found it works. I share openly and honestly about my experience, even though some people might think it's like kind of gritty or too much, like, oh, you shouldn't say that. But I'm really, really proud of what God's done in my life. I'm really proud of what the recovery community has enabled me to become. Like, I mean, I couldn't do any of it without God and others. And so when I talk about it, you would be shocked at how many people send me messages and they're like, girl, like, holy crap, like me too. Like, wait, what? Can you talk to me a little bit more about that? And it just like, God just opens doors in on TikTok and in my real life. When I tell the truth about some hard things, I have great relationship building conversations, and the trickle down effect is so cool to watch, just to watch what happens when that happens,
Yeah, it's beautiful. I mean, that's the thing that I think I got into this and I didn't realize having some of these conversations that that it struck me because I think intuitively we all know we have baggage. Like we all have trauma, we all have stuff going on. Like there's all this stuff that happens and life's messy and like we're all trying to figure this whole life thing out together. We love fragrances and we come in here and talk about it. But as we started having these conversations, I just realized how honest and open people were and how much that's helped other people just by being brave enough to come on and talk about that. And I think that is just so. And I'm seeing some stuff in the chat and
Yeah.
talking to Eli last week. It's just a beautiful thing that you do this. So I guess as much as you want to share, but like going back in your history, I don't think I've asked you. Did you grow up in California? I know you live there now. Like where did you grow up? And I'm kind of curious about your journey, and then maybe we could talk about where you thought things maybe got off track a little bit.
Oh, totally. Yeah, I've done this spiel a number of times, but I grew up in an army family, so I moved a lot. My dad was in the army, and I was born in New York. I immediately moved to France, then I moved to Germany, and then from Germany I moved to Texas, and then from Texas we moved to Cyprus, the island in the Mediterranean Sea. I lived there for a few years. I've lived in England, Pennsylvania, San Francisco, like up and down the coast of California. I've just like moved forever. And so I think like inside me, I just kind of feel sort of out of place. That's just part of who I am. And I sort of felt like a little bit different than everybody else. But it also didn't help that I was just always the new girl. I moved to countries where I didn't even speak the language, let alone have an established friend group. And so I found myself, I mean, I did really, really well academically always. So I found that like that just kind of carried me through. And I ended up in California when my dad retired, and I came to Cal Poly, the university that I just graduated from, when I was 17.
Wow.
And I came from a family that didn't really have open dialogue about things like, what people struggle with and what I might encounter when I'm out on my own. And I mean, gosh, you go to college, like drugs and alcohol just like show up. And I have something different in the way I process alcohol and other things. And I responded very differently than my peers. I had peers that were able to completely manage their schoolwork and juggle their responsibilities and still kind of have fun on the weekends. And that just was never my story. And so I pretty rapidly just got like taken out. I started as like class valedictorian on my way to med school, for sure going to be an army doctor, like yay. And then it was like 4 years later and I had burned every bridge in my whole life, you know? So that just continued and continued and stuff got worse. And then the turn in the story is that I found recovery. And when I found recovery, stuff got better, you know, and everything about my in like everything up here got better and everything in here got better and my world just changed. And so I've been trying to give that back, you know, I've been in recovery now for going on, 11 years.
Well,
So,
so I was going
I,
to ask you that. How about if you don't mind your age, like, were you still in college when you found recovery? Were you just out of the recovery, or like, where
oh
were
no,
you?
no, no, no. I dropped out of college and then I was like on one. And
Sure.
I ended up, yep, I ended up out of school, directionless, burning every bridge in my life. I no longer spoke to my family. I ended up homeless in Chicago, and I was homeless and addicted and alone, and it was real bad. And then I came back to California, some miracle, and things got worse and then they got better, you know? And so I didn't find recovery for years after leaving college. And then I put my life back together and I, became someone I'm proud to be now. Started a family, did all the things. And then I realized like, man, I am an academic. I've always wanted to pursue something in medicine and I never really made amends to myself and like finished what I started. So I went back. I was like an old lady, like back in school.
I freaking love it. I mean, I just cannot, you just have no clue how much I love this story. I mean, I see this, I work at Indiana University and but I work at one of our regional campuses that has a more of a non-traditional student base sometimes. And I freaking love these stories. Like, I love people. I mean, hell, my dad went back when he was 72 years old to finish his
Yeah.
associate's degree because he was close. He had me, he dropped out, he supported his family. He was like, didn't realize at the time he was only like 3 credits away from graduating. And he
Yeah.
told me at dinner one night, he's like, "Man, one regret I have in life is that I never finished college." And so I went back and started doing some research. I'm like, "Dad, you're only 3 credits short." Like, we did a little paperwork and filled it out, and he graduated at 72 years old and was the oldest
That's
graduate to walk across. And I know, I freaking love it. I mean, and that's one of the things I
amazing.
love even about TikTok is like I get on here and I see people who are in their 60s and in their 70s and they're doing content and they're learning this platform, and I'm sitting there thinking, God, that just jazzes me up, man, because like I hope I'm that guy. Like, I don't want to be
Yeah.
70 and like not learning new things. Like, it's beautiful, right? And
There,
so
there's this whole group of like slightly older creators that I follow. They brighten my day every day. There's a couple that are just super snarky and they do kind of what I do sometimes where they're tearing apart the things this generation gets wrong or whatever. And then there's this like really really awesome older lady and she does like fake DJing on her uh cooktop where she's got like pot pan lids and she does like fake DJing and something about that content. It's just amazing. I love it.
I do. It's just unbelievable. So okay, so we kind of got the story. So you had mentioned earlier that somebody was really honest with you about kind of how bad things had gotten, and you don't have to tell me who or how or what that happened, but I'm just kind of curious. Like, it sounds like that was a real big turning point for you to find recovery. Would that be correct?
Yeah, and I think if anyone does, there's really cool research now that suggests that a lot of the problems that people suffer from when they're in the midst of addiction has a lot to do with like separation from God and others, just complete like feeling so alone, and that human connection especially can heal a lot of that. And yeah, a woman shared her story. She shared a lot of the same types of behaviors that I had been engaged in that I wouldn't dream of saying out loud just because it's just shameful, right? And she said it and then told the story of recovery. And I had felt so alone. And when she shared that story, it was like, okay, so I'm not alone. And she has a way out. And she sponsored me. She sponsored me for the last decade.
That is amazing. So what is
Pretty
this
cool feeling.
what has this journey taught you about yourself? Because I'm just I just hear you and I'm like I'm trying to picture in my head because I know this version of you. I don't know the previous version
Yeah.
of you, right? And so like I'm sitting here. Yeah, I know I'm sitting here trying to like put it all together in my head, and I'm just like she has had a transformational experience. I can tell. So you've got to be proud. This journey's taught you some things, and I hope you're proud of yourself. But like, what has that journey taught you?
Man, I think the thing that I've learned the most, there's a couple little key takeaways, little sayings that I repeat to myself. A lot of it, I realize like on my own power, I can do next to nothing. When I'm in charge of my life, I usually just like drive it into the ground, you know? And I have learned a lot of really cool life lessons about um the source of power for all things, and like being able to say I don't know. I lived my whole life thinking that I always had to know the answer to everything, and a lot of my life has changed greatly since being able to say, I don't know. I don't know. It's like no one came down and attacked me when I started to admit that I didn't have all the answers. And so, yeah, just listen more, trust God, help others, clean house, very simple stuff.
I love that. So it sounds like it was regimen a part of it too. Like, was that a part of it? Like having some sort of not regimen sounds really formal, but like having a routine and things like that. Did that come into play? Because I think about like I don't know whenever I feel like because I feel like I have an addictive personality, right? Like I feel like, and I know that, and it's because of that it's the reason why I stay away from certain things. And when I try to find balance, whatever balance means, it's like I feel like I have to stay on a routine or stay on a schedule or try to as much as I can, even though life's crazy. Is that the same experience you've had, or would you say no, that's not really that important?
Um, so I think the number one thing that was important in my life, and I'll say I don't speak for all people in recovery or any
Oh,
program
for sure.
specifically or anything, but in my own life, the thing that really, really helped me early on was just taking instruction and just not, you know, I had a couple people tell me, give me suggestions of things to do. And I had three reasons why I shouldn't do them. And, their answers are typically like, okay, are you done? So go do those things. It was like kind of no BS. And it was like, take these suggestions and just do as you're told for a bit and watch your life get better. And I'll admit, I've got two little kids. My life is crazy today, so I don't have a lot of solid routine. But there are a couple things that I do every day. I practice gratitude every day. I usually reach out to someone every day. And if someone ever needs me, if someone in recovery needs me, my answer is always yes. So there's some core principles that I try to allow that to guide my life. But outside of that, I just think that like you said, there's this big transformation that's occurred. Maybe that's where you get the zest for life that I have in all my videos and stuff. It's like, I'm just happy to be here. you know?
That's so beautiful, and I just I love that you're sharing that, and that it kind of, it kind of brings it in. I'm just kind of curious. I don't know if there's any connection or not, but were you a fragrance person before recovery, or is that something that was a little bit more post recovery? I'm just kind of curious about how that shaped it along with your story.
Yeah, totally. No, well, I always loved perfume. I mean, I had some perfumes in high school, but like everyone, I had like one or two and I saved my allowance to buy them and they were $25. And it was like, a big deal to get something like that. And then over the years, I accumulated a few more and like I can name them. I wore Tommy Girl, I wore Armani Code, I wore Deep Red from Hugo Boss, and I wore Nina from Nina Ricci. Those were my perfumes. And I wore those all the way through college and the bad stuff. Like that was just what I wore. But I remember always loving to wear perfume. It was like a love. And then after the good part started, I rediscovered just how much I loved it. And I was so present and so healthy and so vibrant that I think I was experiencing scent in a whole new way. And yeah, I just found like I live in California wine country, man. And so like I can't explore that type of scent or that type of taste profile. I can't explore those types of things that other adults explore, like those, whiskey tasting, wine tasting. And so I just was like, this will be my thing. And it just grew. I just love it so much. And it lights up parts of my brain that bring me joy. But yeah, it spiked after my life came back together, but I've always loved perfume.
Yeah, no, that's fascinating to me. And then I guess the well, I got two questions based off this. So the first one is, do you have scents that are comforting? Like if you feel like you're kind of in a bad place, that you kind of spray that kind of bring you center and bring you back?
Yeah, I think for me it might be I'm just looking over at my collection. The types of scents that feel comforting to me are typically like slightly musky, slightly sweet scents that just kind of feel like, not to be cheesy, but like a nice warm hug, like a comforting, enveloping bubble of sweetness. I don't want to smell like a damn cupcake, but like I love something that just feels like a cashmere sweater, or it feels like a blanket, like a good tea note or a creamy fig, like anything that feels comforting. That's the type of scent I go to when I need comfort for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've got
that makes a lot of sense because I've heard a lot of people say that's something that's helped them, and I know there's this whole science out there about scent therapy too, and about how like scent really can help you, with some of that, which I think is fascinating. I don't know much about it, but I know there's a whole bunch of studies going on about scents and scent therapy, which I think is fascinating.
mhm.
The other thing that I'm kind of curious about is what about like boozy fragrances? Maybe that's stupid to even ask, but like, does that trigger anything, or is that like you stay away from those? No, I guess not. I don't know. Yeah, tell me about that.
I love a boozy note. And the funny thing is, and we joke in recovery, we joke. My husband's a normie and he has no problems whatsoever with any substance ever. And we have a little liquor cabinet. He loves whiskey and he loves exploring, scotch and stuff like that. It doesn't bother me one lick that it's in here. I have recovered, and it's like this really cool thing to be completely transformed from the inside out. And boozy fragrances to me feel so badass. They feel reminiscent of fun. They feel saucy and spicy. And I think that like objectively, a booze note can really bring sweetness into a very cool adult place that feels dynamic and feels alive. Whereas sometimes sweet notes that are just sweet, it's like, all right, okay, so it's sweet. But then you put like sweetness with a little bit of whiskey and you're like, woo!
That is awesome. Because I did not expect that. I did not expect that response from you. So right there, I was like, oh no, it might be a little hit a little too close to home. You're like, nope, bring them on.
No, my absolute favorite fragrances, the ones that make me feel like it feels like a night on the town, but it feels like a night out on the town that I would remember, which is like something I never had before. But yeah, it's fun. There's a couple I really love. The Mad Hatter from Mischief Academy is such a boozy, fun, sweet fragrance. And then recently I got Delusions of Grandeur from Lepac, and it's got rum and apricot, just like a super sweet dripping fruit with like a little bit of that adult rum vibe, It's
Yep.
fun.
No, it makes complete sense. So kind of transitioning a little bit here, but I'm thinking about like you're my first, and this is sad. It makes me mad, but you're my first female interview. I've been doing this now. I know. I'm happy that you're the first, but I'm also not happy because it seems like I don't know. It's so hard it's like the male side of fragrance talk is like over here, and the female side is over here, and never shall the two mix or
I'm
combined.
just I'm just over here bridging the gap.
Yeah, you're single-handedly bridging the gap. Yeah, you and and a very few others. So I'm just curious. I'm just curious. Do you notice the same thing, or am I just like I don't know in the wrong algorithm or something?
No, it's definitely something I experienced because for the longest time, I think my content said, my analytics said that my followers were like 98% female and 2% male. And then like slowly as you start to talk about more things and like expand your, like you start to niche down. I started to get into the education stuff. I got a few more male followers. And then I made a couple of guy friends and I was like, all right, now I'm like one of the guys. And so now my platform is a lot more varied. I think it's more like 60-40 or 65-35. But I think that's really rare. A lot of female creators, it's like they only see the female side. And objectively, I mean, we're talking about fragrances that females probably would want to wear more often, and men talk about things that they would want to wear more often. But I love the male content creators that I follow, and I intentionally watch their videos every day, even though I don't wear cologne or whatever you might characterize as more masculine. But yeah, I just love the mixture. I think that like getting more female opinions about male fragrances and male opinions about female fragrances is nothing but good stuff, you know?
No, I agree completely, and I'll go ahead and just say it right now. Any other female creators out there, if you guys want to hop on and do an interview sometime, let me know because I freaking would love it. And Polly's cracking me up because Polly, it's not really. I was going to say that she is the best girl interview I've had to date, but what I would say is I did have Eli on, and he may have been the best girl interview that I had. So no, I'm just kidding. Eli's not here tonight. He's going to get me for that comment on the replay. But
Yes, he's conspicuously absent.
I noticed that. Well, don't you
I
worry.
did too.
Don't you worry. Well, yeah, Eli catching a stray. Yeah, damn right. Damn right. It's all right. We'll find out. You were there supporting him, I remember. So we'll have to make sure
Yeah.
he knows that. So so I was sitting here thinking about people out there who maybe are having hard days and they're on this platform. Maybe they're quietly struggling right now. Maybe they've been through something similar. Your story resonates with them. What's your advice to people kind of in that space? I mean, do you have anything that you kind of is your go-to kind of advice for people that might be in there that are kind of quietly everything you said tonight resonated with them, but they're not out there talking about it? What do you say?
I think the only part of that I would change is the quietly part. I think I would just say, reach out, send me a DM. If you're a dude, I will point you straight towards some men that will probably have nothing but time and an open set of ears for you. But I would say the number one thing that heals whatever it is that you're going through is connection. So I would say be brave, be vulnerable, type something out and hit send. And it could be as simple as I'm having a hard time and something that you said meant something to me. Just hit send. And whether I point you toward the guys or you talk to me, I have nothing but time for someone that needs help. So I would say you're not a bother. You just really not. What you have to say is not unimportant. And anyone who's gone through what you've gone through has nothing but time for you. So I would say just change the quietly part.
Beautiful. I love it. Thank you for sharing that and kind of going down that path. So your life's about to get even more crazy. So you said 2 kids, right? 2 kids at home, both under about what age ish?
They're both under the age of 6. I've got a 5 and a 3.5-year-old.
Oh my Lord. And you're in school and you're going to go to nursing school next year. So have you thought about this space and the content creation and the video part and your life's going to get even more complicated? Are you going to be able to keep that up? Or are you going to try to, or kind of have you even thought about that yet?
I don't know if it could get any more complicated than it was the last 2 years because I had one kid in one city in one classroom, another kid in another school. I graduated from one college and then moved to another college, and I'm alone most of the time. And so I am here, there, and everywhere. And I've got finals and I've got exams and I am studying and teaching. And I've not missed a day of content creation almost entirely. Since the beginning, it's been at least 6 months, I think. I struggled a lot when I got sick. When I couldn't smell anything, I was like, what do I do? So getting sick has been a butt kicker. But besides that, I feel like content creation brings joy and levity to my life. It does not weigh me down. I have nothing but excitement when it comes to perfume. And I love this place. And so I come to this place for joy. I don't feel like it's a job. I feel like it's great. So I look forward to it growing,
Well, the way that makes complete sense. The way that I first stumbled upon you and your content was related to samples. That was the first thing when I was in this and kind of understanding. Okay, hey, look, fragrance samples is a thing like that. It's a great way to explore fragrances. I think you've always been one of those people who are really good about saying you don't need 700 fragrances. You can test things, but let's not go crazy and go out of control here. So, could you talk a little bit about that and your kind of your thoughts on that issue? Because I know you're very pro sampling and pro decanting, and I know that you're also pro kind of keeping everything in check.
Well, I want to be real transparent. If someone just dropped a fat stack of cash on my doorstep right now, I probably wouldn't practice restraint the way that I preach about it on my channel. I would not, I'm not a saint. And what I will say is that at the time that I started content creation, I was spending all my spare money on textbooks and things like that. And so I was finding myself wanting more, mostly just more experiences with perfume. I didn't want more bottles. I just wanted to try everything, And so I created a path for that. I started this whole scent share group, this entire like subcategory, like off platform group of people who swap samples for free, who share samples from their collection, who trade decants all just open handedly. And it just started pouring in. And then I'd pour it out and mail stuff out and receive stuff in. And I was able to create content and experience like 10 times the amount of fragrances that I'd otherwise be able to. So it started out of like pure financial desperation. And now I've learned the benefit in it. I really have. I would buy some stuff if you gave me some money, but I would also try things first. I've never been the kind of person who's like, yeah, let me just blind buy this Raja Dove. You know, like I'm not going to do that.
That's smart. I mean, I think that's awesome. That's so transparent and honest because I love that because you're right. I'm sitting here thinking the same thing. I'm like, man, if I win the lottery tomorrow, you better bet I'm buying that whole ex nihilo, every bottle. Like I'm buying every one.
My platform would change dramatically.
Dupes are
I would
gone.
turn into the most bougie. I'd be so bougie.
Yeah, I know. Say no more dupes. Anybody want these? Come get them. Come get them.
I'm like, samples are out, ladies and gentlemen. They're out.
Yeah, transfer the sample group to somebody else. Be like, sorry guys, I'm out. I get it. No, it makes a lot of sense. Real quick reset, and then I got a rapid fire question. So first off, if you guys are not following the Notes with Victoria, make sure that you follow her. You need to follow her. She's got great content, great videos. Make sure that you do that. As I have to do this little puzzle piece because it thinks I'm spam. Hold on one second. Okay, we're good. So make sure you follow her. That's one of the main things. The other thing is continue to obviously like and share the live. It's really helpful for us. We've got a lot of great content creators on here. One of the things I guess I want to encourage everybody to do is continue to support everybody in the community. I think that is one thing that I've found so refreshing too, is that there's so many people in here that have said yes to me when I've randomly reached out like, hey, will you come on this and let me interview you? Like, I mean, I'm sure people think that like in the beginning, they're like, this guy's nuts. What the hell does he want to do talking to me about whatever, about fragrance? And so thank you for those of you that have said yes and kind of entertained this kind of craziness. I really appreciate it. And so thank you for that.
The craziness of my interview.
Negative. It's been so much fun already. Oh, already almost fun. And I'm sitting here laughing at Paulie in the chat saying, if I win there will be signs. Yes, there 100% will be signs. Yes, without a doubt. We love this in Australia. Oh, we're big in Australia, Hectic. Okay. Well, I'm glad to know that.
It is crazy. I don't know how it happened, but Eli made friends with some Australians and then it just like grew and grew and grew. And now like most of his friends are from down under. And then we've like gotten connected just very distantly, like because of mutuals. And it's like, yeah, they're in Australia and they know Eli who knows Polly and then me. It's crazy. The frag talk community.
Yeah, I freaking love it. I mean, there's a guy in Holland that is in some of our lives every now and then. There's a guy in the UK that's in some of them. And I don't know. I love it. That's the other thing I think it's so fascinating about this platform is like the people that you're able to meet from places that you would have never met those individuals. And that you have one little thing in common that you like smelly water. And then now all of a sudden you're talking to somebody from across the country about this. It's a beautiful part of the platform. It's something that I love. But a little bit of rapid fire. This is the fun part, and one of the fun parts. I got some rapid fire questions for you.
Oh no.
Yeah, no, these are easy for the most part. We'll see. We'll see how easy they are. I will not ask you what kind of bottle you like.
I panic. You know this. Just don't ask me what they're made of. I don't
know. One note that you love the best these days.
Oh, crap. Tobacco.
Yeah, that's a good one. One note that you avoid.
Cannabis. And patchouli.
Oh, patchouli. Really?
Patchouli done right is okay. Patchouli done hippie, a bit much.
Okay. I'll take that. Most overrated fragrance.
Burberry Goddess.
Good one. Most underrated fragrance.
Oh gosh. You know, I was wondering about that. I think that some underrated fragrances in my collection, I was thinking about this fragrance house that I really love called Belle Nuit, and not a lot of people have heard of it. No. These two fragrances are flippin' rockin'. So I think underrated, probably Belle Nuit, Lise, and I really love Chamomile Satin from Dries Van Noten. And it's not talked about very much, but I love this one.
I don't think I've ever seen that bottle.
I'm sending you a sample tomorrow.
Okay. I cannot wait. I will love it. I will take it. Comfort scent. You told us the notes, the type that you like, but what's name a fragrance that you go to?
Well, the milky fragrances on me do not turn sour. They turn like super sexy and cozy. So I love Blanche Bette from Lakita Imaginaires. I love Vanilla 28. I'm like a diehard boozy vanilla fan, even though everyone hates vanilla now. But yeah, I'd say like a good boozy vanilla or a nice musky, milky fragrance.
So we got good news, right? Vanilla 28's not actually going away. Is that what I heard? Is that what I hear now?
I fell for it. I
So
fell
did
for it
I.
hard. Yeah. Yeah.
So did I. Don't you worry. I was like, man, it's going away. And even I was in Sephora, and somebody was like, oh yeah, it's going away. Like we were talking about in Sephora that it was going away. I'm like, I don't. So it wasn't just you. It was a lot of people. Anyway,
I was not happy about that. I
no,
almost bought I showed restraint. I did not buy a backup bottle.
that is restraint. I almost bought a bottle just because I saw it in the store. I'm like, why is this available? Like I was like, I'm surprised this isn't gone. So yeah.
Mhm.
Anyway, let's see. Go to feel like yourself fragrance. Like you need to feel like yourself. You need to get recentered. Which one are you going to?
Um, I think it would definitely be something like Vanilla 28, or I really love this fragrance, Incense Antique. I love a smoky, not just campfire, not cigarette smoke, but just like an incensey, smoky, like spice rich kind of fall fragrance. So I really love this one. Incense Antique is one of my favorites. It's got a fat dent in it.
It does. That's pretty good. How long have you had that?
I got this one like maybe a year and a half ago. And after you start to collect for long enough, it slows you down on each individual bottle. But every time I smell this, it smells like a real confident woman because it's not overtly feminine. It's kind of like spicy, smoky, dark, but it's beautiful.
I don't think I've asked you. Are
Beautiful.
are you a floral note person or no?
I love florals. I love florals. And I'm one of the few people that go ham for like a heady white floral too.
Okay.
So I love orange blossom, jasmine, gardenia, love rose. I love florals. The only ones I struggle with lately are maybe some of the more powdery purple florals or like the kind of grassy, polleny vibe of some yellow florals, but I still like them.
Yeah, and you were talking about vanilla being one of your favorite notes. I mean, I are we talking sweet vanilla or are you like more the muted kind of vanilla, like the more, or does it
Yeah,
even matter?
I'm almost like I'm almost like I like vanilla in almost all ways except super, super cupcakey sweet. So those fragrances that are like caramel and vanilla mixed with cake and sugar, it's like that's never been my thing, even though on other people I actually think that smells pretty good. I like fragrances that mix vanilla with booze or smoke or pipe tobacco or like something totally unexpected like cardamom and cinnamon and just something that makes vanilla feel like a real nice cozy backbone and then there's like stuff dancing on top.
Makes complete sense. One word your audience would use to describe you.
Unhinged.
One word you would use to describe yourself.
Curious.
I love it. That's
No.
perfect.
Smart. Funny. Awesome. I don't know.
Oh, you double down. Okay, I see how it is. It can't just be one word. I got you. I got
Humble.
you.
Humble.
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 Very I was gonna say humble. I agree. Humble. Yeah, Polly. I love it. I love it. So what's next for you, Victoria? That's kind of the question I always ask people, what's next for you? And I know that is a crazy ass question because if anybody asks me that question, I'm like, hell, I don't know. I'm gonna wake up tomorrow, I hope, and I'm gonna try to make the world
Yeah.
better. But like, have you thought about it? Jacked.
Um,
That's Quan.
next. Yeah, I know. Maybe I should take Quanvict and like do a bit because I can rock the tank tops, you know? I think what's next? You're absolutely right. I don't want to sound cliche, but I really try to stay in the present, both out of sheer desperation because of how overwhelmed I am with the present, but also I don't really know, right? Like I think I'm going to be in nursing school in a year and who knows what doors are going to open or close, what opportunities will present themselves, what my kids might need. You know, I don't know. I think what's next is that I keep grinding, enjoying this platform. I probably need to think of a new series. Like, I don't know how I'll keep Perfume 101 going for as long as I can, but it could be fun to start to think and like, I have loved some other creators' interesting series, whether it's fit and fragrance or whether it's turning fragrance into food or whether it's this. I just think there's a cool new series on my horizon, maybe. But yeah, I just try to stay in today. What's after this is two kids' bedtime. Tomorrow I have an exam. Like, I mean, just every day. But I think I'm going to stay on TikTok. I'll try to stay consistent on TikTok. And maybe working with some fun brands is next. I'm kind of growing, and that those opportunities might present themselves.
That's amazing. Well, thank you so much for joining us. And like I said, I know your life is crazy. For the fact that you would even carve out an hour for us to talk and really kind of get to know you a little bit better. I've had so many people reach out to me. I know you're probably like, oh, there's no way. But like I've had so many people this week reach out during the promos saying, you know what? I'm so looking forward to this interview. And so that is so awesome. I was looking forward to it. I knew you would do a great job. You 100% knocked it out of the park. I had no doubt. And it's one of those things where it's just been fun to watch your journey and continue to watch your journey. And I thank you for being vulnerable, and thank you for kind of letting people in and talking about your story, because I think it really matters. And we need more people to do that.
Yeah, I think that honestly, like whether it's about recovery or any other dang thing, the world gets better and better and better in my experience, and relationships get deeper and better and more rich. Like the second we stop with all of the facade stuff and like we take all of those stupid masks down, and when someone says, "How are you doing?" like instead of saying fine, like freaking tell someone how you're doing and just watch connection happen and watch relationships grow. And I just wish more of us would do that in and out of recovery. I think it would just be awesome. And TikTok's great for that. I've noticed people have unbelievable relationships pretty quick for that reason. But yeah, this has been so awesome.
I'm glad you've enjoyed it, and you're gonna have to like send me some notes of like other people you think I should talk to, because that's one of the things as I'm looking at my list. I'm like, there's so many people out there that I think would be interesting and fascinating to talk to. But some of the best recommendations that I've had are from some of the people that I've interviewed. So if you know of somebody that you think we would get something out of, let me know. I would love to have some additional careers, especially if they are female. I mean, you're setting the bar really high, so I don't know. We're gonna have to find some other ones that are gonna be able to to be there.
Oh, there's some unbelievable female content creators at all different skill sets and all kind. I'll send you some messages. There's some great ones for sure.
That's awesome. Victoria, thank you. Guys, please follow Victoria if you're not doing that. Please continue to to follow me. If you're not following me, I'd love for you to scoop my page up as well. I go live 2 times a week consistently, 10 p.m. on Wednesday nights, which Frag Talk Live midweek edition. We usually bring on somebody that's in the fragrance community. It could be a content creator, a niche perfumer. It could be an indie perfumer. It can be, anyone that's adjacent to Frag Talk. It can be, as Paulie says, crossover content, right? A little bit of anything, right? We cross over with the content. And then Saturday mornings, which I know it's early for you West Coasters, but 10 a.m. 10 a.m. Eastern time on Saturday. We go live with the community. We bring people up in boxes. We talk about what new things we got this week, kind of what's going on. We kind of keep it light and fun. And that's always a great time too. So anyone's always welcome in those lives. We'd love for the community to come up and have a great conversation with us. We have a lot of fun. So make sure you join us on a Saturday if you're able to as well.
Oh, thank you so much. I had such a great time with you tonight. I appreciate the invitation, and our conversation felt wonderful. So thank you.
No, I'm glad to do it. We're gonna. I feel like we have many more ahead. We're gonna have to have more, because I think we're just scratching the surface with you. So we'll have to check.
Also, text me later, because now we're friends.
Yeah, of course, exactly. Guys, thank you so much. Thank you for all of you guys in the chat. Thank you for the gifts. Thank you for the love. Thank you for everything. Best female interview of the series. Paulie Sense has called it, and he is correct. You guys have a great night. We'll see you soon.
Good night.